Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Jim Coppinger with ZenTek Consultants, and today we're going to be talking about RFIs and how they don't have to be difficult or expensive and how to work with them inside of Bluebeam Revu, one of my favorite tools out there. So just quick housekeeping item as we go through today's presentation, which we're going to keep short and quick and to the point. I'm not going to take the time to actually answer questions in real time, but I will get to at the end of the webinar any questions that anybody has. You can type them into your chat or your questions box, and I will be happy to answer those when we get to the end of the session. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and get rolling with our topic for today. All right, so there we go. All right, for those of you who haven't worked with us before, we are ZenTek Consultants, and we are a premier Bluebeam partner. We provide sales and technical support, training, and customization for your Bluebeam, but we also do quite a lot more. When it comes to your CAD system, we're Microsoft partners. When it comes to your cost estimating, takeoff, really any technology you're working with in the AEC and manufacturing space, we're here to help. So we hope you guys take time, hit our website, and see what else we can do for you. All right. So like I said, today we're here to talk about RFIs in Bluebeam Revu, really. And you may ask, exactly as the question has up there on the screen, I already have my own RFI forms. We have a built-in RFI process that we've been working. Why do I need Bluebeam? Well, the truth is that Bluebeam, particularly 2019, has some really, really nice tools that will really reduce the time, the communications problems, and all of the costs that are associated to working with requests for information in the construction design world. A lot of tools we're going to cover here today. We're going to talk about how you can use custom symbols for RFI callouts directly on your plan. We'll talk about custom statuses. We'll talk about hyperlinking. We'll talk about file hosting and collaboration so that everybody can work on the same version of the file and keep track of what's going on with it, all through Bluebeam. And for most folks, being the fact that it's one of the most popular software packages on the planet, most of us in the construction design world, we already have Bluebeam. So it's not having to go out and pay for some really expensive enterprise software to handle RFI tracking and so on. You can actually do it all inside of Bluebeam Revu. Right? So with that said, we're going to go take a look at how that works. So I'm just going to do a little demo for you today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over here to Bluebeam 2019, and we're going to start off by going into Bluebeam Studio. Right? And in the Bluebeam Studio project section, right, which comes and it's included in every version of Bluebeam Revu, whether you have standard CAD or extreme, what this does is it allows you to actually go out and host files out in the cloud. And you have an unlimited amount of storage space. It comes as free as part of your Bluebeam purchase. You can hold as many documents out here. So you can see out here that I've got some standard construction documents, right? And I've also got some folders in here already built in terms of where we're going to host our RFIs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually check out this example electrical set that I have. All right? And checking a document out gives me the ability to just go in and directly edit it. Okay, and it lets me be the only person in the world really who's actually editing that particular file, right? So it kind of keeps us consistent and working with the correct versions of our documents. And for right now, just to clean up the screen, I'm just going to close out of the example project. It's still there, it's still running. I can go back to it over here at any time. But just to show you what I'm talking about in terms of RFIs, okay? So we have this checked out. So what do we do here in Bluebeam that can really make RFIs a lot easier, right? Well, when you're working and here we're on an electrical plan and maybe there's some questions about what's going on with a panel board or a breaker or a circuit, something. One of the things that's really nice is that also part of Bluebeam is that you can build yourself custom tool chests. You see I have one here called RFI tools, just an example one. And building custom tool chests, is something that you could do on your own, but it's also something that we here at ZenTek do regularly for our clients. And we actually work with some of the largest contractors and building product manufacturers in the world to do it for them. So if you have an interest, you can reach out and ask us about this. But the idea here is that you can pre-save tool sets that you can distribute throughout your whole company. So when people have RFIs in the field, you can run these on iPads. You can import these into all of your field-based softwares, right? You can go in and have a bunch of standard tools that you can use. For example, you can bring in an RFI call out, right? So you see now I've got a call out. So if they have a question around, what's going on this panel, right? They can just go in and they can drop it, okay? And now you see what I can do from here is I can go in, if I had to go through like both of these, I'm like, look, I want to know what's going on. You see I can just stretch that call out around the area that I'm concerned with. I can move my node over, okay? So I can go in and adjust that to whatever I need it to be. And then the great thing here is that I can just go in and I can adjust the number. right? This is, RFI E01, okay? There you go. I have an RFI number all set, all ready to go. And it's tagged right here on my screen, right? Maybe I need more detailed notes rather than just an RFI in an area. I can pull in notes. Okay, so if I wanted to, put in a note here, now I can go in and just kind of drag this leader to where I want. You see the same thing. I've got the RFI. I can go in and just change it to what I need. Right? This is E2, and then type in whatever information that I need here. What is the whatever? I can type in whatever it is I need here in terms of notes. Same thing. If I really want to, I can go ahead and I can create RFI tags, right? Which are just kind of standard notes. So if I'm pointing to individual items instead of areas, so maybe for example, I'm going down here and I'm calling out RFIs on panels, right? Or breakers or so, particular ceiling fixtures. Right? You see, I can just go in and I can drop in my RFI tags, right? And the same thing, I can go in and I'll make that, E3. Okay, so I can easily tag and number the RFIs directly on my plan, which is really nice, right? It gives me the ability to go in using my iPad or any other system that I'm working on, drop these RFIs in place so that they're fully loaded and listed right here on my screen inside the PDF, right? Which is great. It's a good setup. But the benefit here is, like I said, that we can actually go in, right? And we talked about opening the document here, okay? Right? And we pulled it up from our studio project, and I can just save this, right? And then when I go in and I can check this back in later on just by going up here, right? You see that I can actually check it back in and I can send that back to the studio project so that your folks in the field, as they're marking up or asking RFIs, it's being posted directly to the cloud server, right? Where you can actually go ahead and send links and emails and whatever you need, or even invite people into a session inside a studio for the architects, the engineers, the designers to actually start to provide the information you need with your RFI, right? So this becomes kind of your training center. Now, the other thing that's really, really nice about this and working inside of Bluebeam, like I said, it's great. It's very, very simple to be able to go in, add RFIs, change their numbers like we did here with these different types of call out tools, which really saves a lot of time. One of the other things that's really nice about working with Bluebeam Revu in the RFI environment, right, is I have the ability up here to go in and I can go ahead and I can create, right, a new PDF from a template. So what you can do is, you can change the path of where these templates are, so you can host them on either on, in Studio, out in the cloud, or you can do it on your servers, where people can actually open up standard forms. So you see here, I have a standard RFI form. It's one thing to put in notes and say, hey, RFI 1 is here, or E2 is over here, right? I need to actually fill out the details, right? So I can go ahead and I can open up an RFI form, right? And I can go and I can start to put in, right, all my information, right, about whatever it is I'm doing here, right? And I can just go ahead and I type my RFI number, right? This is E01, right? And it's from Jim C to I don't know, we'll send this one to Joe Engineer. Okay, info requested, whatever I need, and then I can come in here and I can type out all the details, whatever I need about my description and my setup here, right? All location limits. So this is really taking whatever RFI form you guys already have and either converting it to a PDF through Bluebeam, or if it's already a PDF, just putting it out in a template file location where everybody can access it. Okay. Now here's where we really start to get powerful in terms of working with Bluebeam Revu and your RFIs. Once I filled out this particular form, what do we normally do with it? Well, normally what we wind up doing is we save it to our server and then we email a copy to the architect, or in this case, the engineer, and we wait for replies, and we're not sure if he got it, if he replied, he didn't reply, did he get caught in our spam filters, and we're calling him 12 times. We have no idea what's going on, what's the status, where things are. Here, what I can do, right, is I can actually go in here, and you see right up here, I can go ahead and I can just do a save as up here, and I can save this right into my RFI folder within my studio project. So you see that here underneath my studio project, what I've done is I've built two folders: open RFIs, closed RFIs, the ones that are pending, the ones that are done. Simple, easy to sort, and it's all being hosted in the cloud so that everyone who has an interest in dealing with your RFI structure can access these files from any computer, anywhere, anytime, any place, 24/7. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and I'll go into my open setup, right? And I will just call this, RFI E01. Okay, and I'm just going to say okay. And you see it just saves this RFI then back up into my example folder. So if I go in now into my example project, you see when I go into the RFI open folder, see, there it is. It's been saved into that folder structure, right? So now that I've got that, here's where we really start to get powerful. Like I said, the key with working with your RFIs inside of Revu is interaction, right? We're trying as much as we can to eliminate questions and concerns and time. All right, so here we're dealing with RFI E1. And the question is, well, where is that? Where was it saved? How do I find it? How do I read the details? Okay, it's great to have a little, call out like this, a physical location. Okay, RFI E01, that was over here, right? But what were we asking about? What are the details? I need this file, right, in order to work with that. Well, here's one of the great things about working with your RFIs through Bluebeam Revu is that it's a very easy thing for me to just right click on this RFI, right? And then I can edit the action and I can go ahead and I can set it to automatically link to that RFI E01 PDF, okay? Then even if I come over here, right, and I'm just gonna close that, right? Now, when I save this, when people come in, right, they come in and say, oh, here's RFI E01, where's the detail? And you see how it's got this link here that is tied to that text? So wherever I move this, it's always got this little hyperlink icon, which means that at any point people go, oh, RFI E01, what's going on here? The architect, the engineer, whoever you're sharing this file with, all they have to do is click right there and boom, it opens up the RFI for them, okay? And then they have the ability from here to just come up here if they want to edit it. You see right now it opens it in read-only mode, but if they're the one who's going to reply and respond, right, all they have to do is check it out, right? And now they can go into the bottom and, type their reply down here. There you go. Save it, and they're done. They just go ahead and check it back in, right? Replied by Joe Engineer. Check it back in, right? And you're done, right? You're taking away all of the, the emails and the scanning and the waiting and the mailing things and calls, right? Everything can be handled right here through Bluebeam, even with people who work outside of your company, right? Which is a really important thing. Now, one of the other really nice features of working with your RFIs kind of exclusively inside of Bluebeam Revu is you have the ability to also start to add statuses, okay? Right? So in other words, when I go in here, right, and I start to choose, the different RFI tags. I'm sorry, here's my tag over here. I left it over there. I'm gonna move it over here just so we can kind of see them all in one screen, right? So as I'm working, so if I get this RFI, right, so I go to E1, and I say, okay, you know what, RFI E1, right? You see here when I go down to my statuses, I can set customized statuses, right? And this is great for a lot of things inside of Revu, but it's particularly useful inside of RFI. So here I just build a very basic status set, right? Here for open, pending, and closed. Real simple, right? So if this is an open RFI, I put it on, I drop my symbol, I want to mark this as being an open RFI. See that it automatically marks it as red? I can set it to change colors. Same thing over here. This is this one, right? I can go ahead and change the status. That one's also an open RFI. See, all open RFIs will show up as red, and I can customize this to whatever display I want. I just chose red. All right, same thing here. If I choose the tag, set it to be open. So you can see all of my open RFIs, okay? The ones that haven't been looked at or verified yet are all in red, so they're very easy to see, right? Then when I come in, I change the status and I go to this one, I say, okay, you know what? Joe Engineer is looking at it, he's reviewing it, right? So Joe Engineer can go in and say, hey, that's pending. I have to do some research and find out it's pending. You see it changes the color again. Same thing, each one of these, I change them to pending, right? All done, okay? And same thing as you would imagine when I go in and I change any one of these, right? Change that to closed, it becomes green, it's done, okay? I can go to this one, right? Change its status to closed, right? And I can do the down here. I can also do that, by the way, just so you know. I can go up here and I go to set my status here, right? And I can set that one for closed, right? And then you see they're all green, okay? So I can easily go in, set my statuses. My links are maintained, right? I'm all good. Now, here's the thing. I'm just going to go ahead and save this one again, right? What's also really nice about this is that because we are working, okay, in a cloud-based environment. Now I can just go back into my example project. I can go to my RFI. Here's my open folder, and here's that file, right? So if this is a closed RFI, I want to be able to leave these on here, and I can do layer controls on this, by the way, if I want to have a closed layer setup so I can turn them off. But what I'm going to do here is I can just go ahead and take this file, right? And I'm just going to cut it, and I'm going to paste it from the open, right, into the closed folder. Right, there you go. This way it moves it out from one to the other, so I can easily structure, manipulate, right, everything that I need. So dealing with your RFIs is actually a really, really simple process. Okay. Now, one other thing that I'm going to do here, I'm going to go back to that example real quick. And I'm just going to, I didn't want to, I actually got ahead of myself, so I'm going to cut it and move it back to the open, right? And I'm just going to paste it back in here, right? And I'm going to go ahead and open that up, right? So I have that open, close the project, right? And I'm going to actually check it out so I can do some editing, okay? Because one of the things that I've done here in my RFI template, oh, I didn't do it in this one, sorry, I thought I did. Oh, because I started a new one. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to insert a page. I'm just going to insert a blank page, okay, at the end of this. Oops, come on, right? Go to insert page, right? And for some reason it's not letting me, oh, I want to insert a blank page. That's why I was hitting the wrong button. Insert a blank page, right? And I'm just going to insert a blank page at the end. All right, so you see I've got my RFI, and then down here, maybe what I need to do is I need to add sketches. I have to do more detail. I have to draw some options. I have to mark things up and show you what the problem is and why it's a concern. That's always a big problem when you're dealing with RFIs, because a lot of times what happens is out in the field, you're sketching things on a piece of paper, and then how do you get that piece of paper, you know, scanned in and sent to the engineer or the architect or whoever? Instead, what we can do here is that inside of Bluebeam, right, when I go in here and I need to say, hey, what's going on in that area, I can tag the RFI here, right? But the other thing that I can do, right, is that I can actually go up here and I can create a snapshot, right? And I misclicked, there we go, create a snapshot of this area, right? So I can go in, create a snapshot of that region, right? Then I can go over to the actual RFI itself and I can just paste it in, right? And you see I can actually paste it in, right? And if I want to make it larger, right? Zoom in, zoom out, do whatever I need to do with it. Now I can go in and I can actually mark this up, right? So if I want to show like, hey, I want to do an alternate run. If we went over this way, it would be a lot better, right? And then, you know, I can go over here and then here, and then I can go ahead and let's put the panel over on this wall, right? Whatever it is I need to do and however I want to mark it up, right? And now that's embedded and saved as part of the RFI. So I can give more detail just by pulling it directly from the PDF and embedding it right into my RFI, right? Which is really, really powerful stuff, okay? So very, very easy for us to go in, build all our structures. Like I said, we can work with all of our general RFI tools, build our own custom tool sets for use and reuse and notes, right? And then we can actually, you know, integrate the whole thing through the cloud and have everybody accessing those files from any computer, anytime, any place in the world, okay? So that's how you work RFIs with Bluebeam Revu. It's a lot less time consuming. It's a lot more automated, which means it saves you lots of money. Okay? And we are all fans of saving money and time and aggravation whenever we can. All right, so with that said, I'm going to go back here, right? And I did get a couple of questions while we were doing this. So I got a question from Andrea. Andrea wants to know, if you move an RFI from open to close folder, does it maintain the link or do you have to redirect? Oh, no, yeah, it's a great question, Andrea. You actually have to reconnect that link, right? So in other words, I'm just jumping back to review here real fast. Right? When I move, you know, the link here was pointing to the open folder. When I move this RFI here, right? So what Andrew's asking is, you know, when I move this right now, this link that you see over here on the screen goes to this folder location. If I move this up to the closed, okay, I would have to reestablish the link, or I wait until after I've already done it and then add the link. Either way, but yeah, I would definitely have to reestablish that. It's not an automatic structure that way. Okay. Question from Santino. Will RFI tools recognize spaces? Yes, absolutely. If you're using Bluebeam Revu Spaces, it will automatically recognize and report, right, where your RFI callouts are if you have your spaces defined. Okay, so that will give you everything that you need, right? And I don't see any other questions, so I think that's going to wrap us up today. And I thank you guys for spending the time with us, and you hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one.